After my chance encounter with that bottle of Crown Royal the night before, things were a little bit hazy the next morning. I put the rest of that Crown Royal back down the hole it came out of and said good riddance. But I suddenly found out that all was not perfect, even in paradise.
Well, I hope this camera, I see it's blinking, so it must be on. I hope there's no smear on the lens. I hope it's recording. I left it out in the boat last night. Idiot move without being in its waterproof case, and it got all sorts of dew and condensation all over it. It's first thing in the morning of day 2. So this is my campsite inside the big cedar. At dawn, it's kind of wreckage right now after throwing stuff around in the dark. You can see a little problem here that amateur filmmakers might, a little tip to filmmakers who are not used to filming on the West Coast. That's my last night's dinner in the frying pan. That little box here, that's my kit of camera gear. So it's got my GoPro and my Safari camera and all sorts of little fittings and gadgets. And if you are filming on the West Coast, you notice that you get into some problems that you might not have in other parts of the world. That's a banana slug. You can see my friend is still here. Battery ran dead while I was filming this. So this is my GoPro. The famous West Coast banana slug. They feed on GoPro cameras and Safari cameras and assorted, basically they feed on anything that they sniff out in their path. Well, sadly to say, I think I wrecked my GoPro camera. I was trying to film this slug. He's still around. This slug was grazing on my GoPro camera kit this morning. I was trying to film him with the GoPro, and unfortunately I left the GoPro out in its holder in the boat overnight without its waterproof case. It got some dew, condensation on it, so I was trying to dry the GoPro by hand by holding it. I was trying to warm it up and dry it out by holding it near the campfire, and I guess I held it too close and I blistered the lens. So I took this slug and I moved him over here. Watch him pull his antennas in if I touch him. You probably see what I did here. It's a white dot in the middle of the lens. That ain't no good. I don't think I want to film with that. So this poor old camera that shot so much film is toast for the time being. Maybe I can get a new lens or figure it out when I go home, but it's a dead soldier for the rest of this trip. Too bad, because I had that great slug footage and I had a dawn sunrise shot I was just wanting to film, but it kind of changes things. I don't shoot much with this camera, so I'm going to take just this one rod again. I busted my luxury $9.99 Canadian flag Walmart lounge chair. Oh, you can see I'm not going to get much more hours out of that. This is the lure I'm using. It's homemade, similar to the one I lost earlier this summer. A tiny little hook. It's got an old rooster tail for a body. A great big number 4 or number 5, whatever this I got it from Lure Parts online. Very simple, pretty effective. Caught some fish yesterday. So I'm going to try to go across the lake to a spot over there. Get the dawn bite over there. We'll see. Well, this was a beautiful scene about 45 minutes ago. But I got up and I found that I'd left my camera in the boat overnight in its rack in this mounting. My GoPro camera, it got dew on it. Shooting with the Safari camera right now, my $70. It's the one I usually use for underwater. I'm gonna go fish over there in that fog bank. Was hoping to see fish jumping out here. I can't believe it. I got some little cutties here yesterday, but I was expecting to see fish swirling all through these reeds. Fish jumping out here. There's just nothing. But I think what happened was most of the cohos came in and went up in the creek and spawned and died in that first big set of rains we had. And most of the cutthroats have gone on to other things, I guess. So I'm using this safari cam out in front of my camp here. I just made a couple casts on hook, maybe the biggest cutthroat of the whole trip. And lost it on single barbless. Quite get close enough to the boat before it jumps off. Oh, there's nothing out in the middle here. Whoa! Oh. That's a good one. Wow, there's some good fish in here this morning, huh? It's a cutty, huh? Nice one. Look, my lure fell right out. Look at that. I'm going to take that one home with me. There's a beauty. Kennedy Lake sea run cut. That one's going into the cooler and then maybe get traded to my neighbor for some eggs. So you can see this bright orange meat on these sea run cutthroat. There's little specks of blood I have to wash out of there. They're not parasites. These fish do get parasites in this lake at times. I don't see any in this one. You see little white spots in the meat. You always want to cook it really well, but this one looks like it's fresh out of the ocean. That is a nice chunk of trout meat right there. So I got another nice cutty here in the bag. Look how that barbless hook falls right out. It's already gone. Do I want to keep this one or not? Beauty, huh? Let's let that one go. That single barbless hook falls right out of their mouth before I even have to undo it. There are schools of great big coho salmon ranging around here. You might run into one. I was throwing it right in front of their noses and they wouldn't bite. Makes me feel that they've been fished pretty hard here. I got one. Another little cutty. It's still long enough for me to get a hold of that hook. You can see the smoke up there. That's they're blasting a new road. The highway goes up that side of that hill, and they're clearing for the highway. It was really calm last night, you can see, so all the smoke from their burn piles is just hanging in that valley.
In the shallows, you will often find juvenile coho salmon and maybe some tiny cutthroat trout. Mixed in with the salmon, you will also find a fish that is not common on the west coast of Vancouver Island, the pea-mouthed chub. Here you can see isolated chubs swimming through the flooded grass. By this time, I had switched to using my second GoPro camera to film from the boat. I knew there were fish around, so I dropped my $70 Safari underwater camera down. These chubs will form huge schools, and they eat up a lot of the phytoplankton that might otherwise have fed juvenile salmon. Here you can see schools in a different part of the lake, Clackwood Arm. There are two populations of sockeye in this watershed, two strains of the same species, or at least there used to be. The strain you're looking at here may already be extinct. Most sockeye spawn in rivers, and there were big runs that spawned in the Upper Kennedy River and the Clackwood River that are tributary to this lake. But there was another huge run that did not spawn in rivers. They spawned in underwater gravel along the shore of the lake itself. Together, these two runs were once large enough to support a huge commercial cannery, which was successful enough to have a geographical feature named after it, Cannery Bay, where the Kennedy River pours into the ocean. But in recent years, the beach spawning fish have become increasingly rare. A few years after I shot this video, I attended a presentation by scientists who commented about these beach spawning sockeye. They said that in the year prior to this, divers looking all over the lake had found only 5 beach spawning sockeye. And the year after, they could only find 2. So I was lucky to find these larger schools in 2018. For all I know, they are video evidence of the last schools of beach spawning sockeye in Kennedy Lake ever. I have cast spinners over these beach spawning sockeye at various times over almost half a century. Only once did I manage to get a few of them to bite. I don't know why they bit that year and never before or since.
So I'm not really sure where I am, but I'm not where I was before. You can see that there's a pack of red hot fish up here, and I think I'll go fish there. Big school of cohos right in front of my boat. They won't bite. Why won't they bite? I'm right off the creek mouth here. There's a pack of red hot cohos just rolling and jumping out here. They wouldn't bite on my homemade spinner moments ago or half an hour ago. I put on this store-bought Meps with a bright red body. When you're casting into a pack of great big hot fish like this, you might want to test your drag before you make your cast. Oh, give that a try, coho.
There are two populations of sockeye in this watershed.
I think I got one.
Two strains of the same species, or at least there used to be. The strain you're looking at here may already be extinct.
I think I got one. pretty hard to miss when you're throwing it into a pack of 50 of them. Bright red. This one's been in the lake for a while. It's still strong though. They almost look like steelhead when they get to this stage. This would be fun on a fly rod, huh? Catch them in 2-3 feet of water. It's actually towing my boat around. Ah, good to see these fish still here. I couldn't find any yet, so I can't. Taking me on a boat ride. This is a big boat to be pulling around like this. Eventually he's going to ground me in the shallows and I'll be able to maybe bring him to justice. Strong fish, huh? See if I can get him into the camera range here. Come on. Not that big, but strong still, huh? I guess I can't get him into the camera range. Come on, pose for the camera, buddy. Right under the boat right now. Up. Into the bag with you, buddy. Nice. See why this one's been in the lake for a while. Still really strong fish though, huh? So, you know, every time I come to this lake, I learn a little bit more. There's coho swirling right there. There's just a pack of them right in here. And this creek mouth here, right now the main channel, the main outflow is coming right out here along those bushes and then it washes into here. But because there's a huge beach, the lake is up now. But when you drop down, when the lake drops down, there's big shallow gravel flats here. So the creek mouth changes year to year as this beach changes, and for the past couple years you can see there's another outflow. You can just barely see the current coming out right there. And last year, for the last 2 years or 3 years, the main flow of the creek has been coming out there, and these schools of big cohos would hang out there at this time of year. Now the main channel is coming right out here, and you can see these fish rolling and swirling. They've moved their base of operations. I've got a new, this is a homemade lure. I don't know if I ever used it before. It doesn't even have a body. It's just got a bunch of stainless steel nuts on it for a body. I don't know if I ever used that lure before.
I have cast spinners over these beach spawning sockeye at various times over almost half a century.
I think they saw my arm move when I cast.
Prior to this day, I never managed to get a single one of them to bite. I don't know why they bit this year, and never before or since.
I had a hit there. Something took a whack at it. This is like bone fishing in the Caribbean, where it's 3 feet deep and you can see bottom and watch the fish racing around. So glad to see that there's some fish in here. Wonder there was none at my campsite. Whoa! I hope there's still battery left in the camera. That was a good leap, huh? It's like a demolition derby down there. Probably you can't see it on the camera. There's schools of fish racing around. This one on my hook is charging back and forth through them, and this one might be a little bigger than the last one. Ah, so good. Whoa. Ooh, taking me backwards. I've got 10-pound line. And I can't pull any harder. Now, yeah, they look like sockeye almost, don't they, at this time? Come on, I'm going to let you go in a minute. There, now you're getting the idea. Sort of. And this fishery here at the lake, there's fish here all year round, but this shallow water fishery for sea run fish is very seasonal, and it's very dependent upon weather. This is incredible weather. This is, oh, wait a minute, I have to stop talking. He's trying to get in. Oh, he's in my outboard motor. Come on. As I was saying, what was I saying? It's a very seasonal fishery, and some years it doesn't happen at all. Some years it's fairly dry, and then it starts to rain, and it keeps raining, and the lake floods, and it never goes down. But boy, this is an exceptional weather situation this year, when the water is so when the weather is so clear for so long in October. What incredible weather. Battler, huh? On that little tiny hook. I want to show you this little tiny hook. It jams in sometimes, but it's very easy to pull out. A beauty from Kennedy Lake. Come on, right yourself, buddy. There he goes. They don't like being upside down. Once they get upside down, it's like they don't know what's right side up anymore. So here's one reason why it can be dangerous to go speedboating around in this lake. See, here we are on the biggest lake on Vancouver Island. There's this thing that looks like, I thought it was an alligator coming up out of the water. There's a little bit of chop. You might not notice that. And it's not an alligator. It's the tip of a giant log that goes who knows where. And you hit that. Look at this piece of wood. And that is a serious piece of wood to be hitting at high speed. With a boat of any kind. So you want to be careful boating around in this lake, or else you might run into this thing. So a little plug here, if my battery's still running. A little plug to my former employers. I used to work for them for a couple summers. Central West Coast Forest Society. And these creeks here go right up. You can even hear the highway traffic going by. They just go up a little ways and they go under this very busy highway. Just had a hit. And the highway was constructed poorly, so the fish couldn't get through the culverts. So this Central West Coast Forest Society group came by and they restored fish passage through those culverts. So these fish, of which you can see just hundreds of them here, right? The bottom is black with them. And they're hitting it, or I'm bumping it into them. I may be snagging them as I bump it over their backs. They don't really want to bite anymore. You can just see hundreds of coho salmon milling right here in front of me. And these fish had nowhere to go up into these creeks a few years ago. So it's thanks to that Central West Coast Forest Society that a lot of these fish are here today, in my humble opinion. So this looks like the kind of a spot where you might get a bite. Oh, that was getting hit, probably by a little trout. Oh, that looks like a bigger one. About the same. I kind of had a hunch I might catch one there. I don't even see where the creek is. Somewhere there must be some water. There's some fresh water coming into the lake from here. That's what these fish are here for. They're going up to spawn. But this one is going to make a brief detour. Ah, he's going under my boat again. Whoa. Man, they're strong. This one's going to make a brief detour to make a guest appearance on the Bass Extravaganza. Although he doesn't really know it yet. You have to convince him that it's written into his contract to appear on the Bass Extravaganza. Towing this boat in circles. Look, buddy, I'm running out of camera battery, okay? It's written in, oh, jeez. It is written in your contract. Circling around the boat. Okay, circles are getting smaller now. So once again, I say with my last remaining dribble of battery, this is a place where I think I might catch a fish. It's gotta be a big fat cutthroat. Well, you might want to test your drag. Huh, what do you know about that? I got a bite. Cutthroat. Oh, that's a nice cutty. Is that a cutty? Oh, he got off. Oh no, he's still on. That's a cutty. I bet. Oh, stay on. That's a cutty. Oh man. That's a big cutty. Ooh, ooh. Or is it? Or a silver coho. I think that's a big cut. It's the kind you don't get in July and August very often. It's cutty. So much glare I can't tell. Get a good look at it. It's a coho. Pretty sad when you're disappointed with catching a fish like that. I was hoping it was a cutty. Well, I thought I had ruined my camera this morning. I saw this slug first thing in the morning. It was crawling around in my GoPro equipment, my camera equipment, so I wanted to film it. And unfortunately, I realized I'd left this camera out in its mounting in the boat overnight, so there was dew and condensation all over it. I brought it in, tried to film the slug, and then the camera shut down. I put another battery in it, it wouldn't run. Finally got it running, but there was a big white blotch in the middle of the lens, and I thought that I had somehow like melted the lens by, I was holding the camera near my campfire trying to get it dried out. Anyway, I thought I'd ruined the camera, so I think I took some shots of that slug. I moved the slug over onto the tree here and went out fishing with the other camera, came back in and trying to rectify the situation. As I see now, it looks like there was some condensation inside the lens, and as I left the camera out in the sun for a few hours, that condensation seems to have gone away. The view looks pretty good, and the slug is back. Look at the sucker. He crawled all the way from back over there. He's right back, coming up on my eggnog. What the heck? What's with you, buddy? Come on. Get off. I'm not even going to touch you. Put you right back on that tree. Jeez. That was a seal I just filmed. Hi. I didn't interrupt your party, did I? I'm an amateur filmmaker myself. I have to come up to my car and charge my batteries. My batteries are running low. Can I drag up on the beach somewhere where I'll be out of your way? Oh man, my arm's falling off from reeling in fish. There were schools of salmon inshore, and I was there. Every once in a while a seal would just rip through and they'd all freak out. I have a campsite in a big old hollow cedar on the other side of the lake, and I download my video to the computer at night, but my computer's running low, so I'm gonna go put it in the car, recharge the battery. What are you folks doing here? Really? Huh. For like BBC? Or the... I don't know the channels, but they put a lot of English TV on our public network here. Here's the Kennedy Lake boat launch. This is a giant film crew here. They're filming an episode for a British TV show made in Chelsea. So I'm filming the filmers. How's that?
You don't need to give it the rod. Give it the rod because it's rather than one hand across it and then take the rod. Yeah, then you what? Like carry the rod.
Should we take at least the foil over so it's maybe
Yeah.
speed it up a bit?
Hi.
I've got a video series on YouTube. I'll give you a plug on my YouTube series.
Hi everybody, it's me, Humpty. I want to interrupt for a moment to say a few things. There are probably only 5 or 10 people who watch the Bass Extravaganza who don't actually know me. But in case you are not already aware, I had a stroke a while back and I'm no longer the same person you see in these videos. I want to set the record straight before proceeding. First, I have been camping inside that huge hollow cedar tree for decades. I don't go over there to get drunk. On my previous trip over there with a friend, I had brought a bottle along and we had a drink around the evening campfire. I have been building my campfire on that same exact spot for almost half a century. I didn't want to bring an open bottle of booze back with me in the car, so I stashed it in that hole in the trunk, as I documented in the previous episode. In all my previous years there, I had never had more than 1 or 2 shots per trip, always in the evening, and I never went out in the boat after I had been drinking. Second, I had consumed the odd glass of champagne over the years, always in company with other people. I would guess that until this day, my total consumption of champagne over a lifetime would have probably been around half a bottle, certainly less than a full bottle. And since filming this episode, not a single drop of champagne has ever touched my lips. Third, I think this was the 3rd season of that Made in Chelsea TV series. And I Googled the other day, and I think it may still be on British TV, and they may still be filming new episodes. When I was chatting there with someone on the crew, they told me it was a reality TV series. It shows what you could do with a reality when you have a big network budget, compared to a ragtag operation like mine where everything runs on a shoestring. When I'm making a YouTube episode, what you see is what you get. If I catch a fish, I catch a fish. If the fish spits out the hook and swims away, it swims away. If I'm shooting in the sun, there's a lot of glare. But with a big budget, you can take a different approach towards reality. So they actually filmed that final scene where they pop open the bottle of champagne twice. And then I guess they chose which version of reality to show on TV. Since I had come roaring in to disrupt their final scene in a week of shooting, throwing huge waves across that glassy calm lake, they were in a hurry to conclude filming and leave. They had a semi and a 5-ton truck and a big van. And when they finally finished filming that scene, they started scrambling to load up and head back to Nanaimo and the ferry to Vancouver and then back to London. So I was back in my Volvo charging up my batteries, and the director came walking by and he said, "Hey, we just popped open these 2 bottles of champagne and we can't take them with us. Do you have any use for them? Otherwise, we're going to just pour them out in the gravel." So I thought about it for a few seconds, and then I said, "Yeah, I guess I could find a use for them." So he gave me 2 bottles of Italian champagne that were almost full. I poured one bottle into the other until it was totally full. Carved out a cork from cedar and stashed it in my boat. Then I guzzled the other bottle down while I was waiting for my batteries to charge. That was probably equal to all the champagne I had ever drunk in my entire life to that point, and I had a completely full bottle waiting for me in the mighty bullshit.
I'll do a flyby. I left my GoPro mount at my campsite across the way. I usually mount it off this rack in the back here.
Oh.
Well, it looks like a nice day. I don't know if you've ever been to this lake before. You don't get weather like this very often here.
Paddled on it. It's certainly warm for October.
What a glorious day. Middle of October. This is incredible weather. I was over on the other side over to the boat launch to recharge my batteries and my computer. When I went into the boat launch, there was a film crew from England filming a reality show. And I filmed them. They were certainly a multi-million-dollar operation, and I was standing behind with my $70 Safari camera and filming the stars of the movie, the TV show. And the penultimate scene was the young man and young woman popped a bottle of champagne, and the cork went into the lake. So in reward for my patience, avoiding not making a mess of their TV reality show, they gave me the bottle of champagne. So, La Marca, what do you think about that? Better than anything I'm likely to find on this side of Trinity Lake.
Fourth, I'm putting an age restriction on this video because I don't want to encourage kids. Because I don't want to go encouraging kids to go out drinking and boating. This is Kennedy Lake, the biggest lake on Vancouver Island. It can be deadly at times, even in the calmest weather, as I point out in this episode. But I know the lake well. I doubt that anyone has spent more time fishing its waters and exploring its shores over the past 50 years. And this may have been the most perfect day of weather I have ever seen there. And the fishing was unbelievable. And some god from some alien universe had just handed me 2 bottles of imported champagne, corks already popped and already going bad if someone didn't drink them. I thought about all the people that had harvested all those grapes and fermented the wine and shipped it over here to cross paths with me. Was I going to pour all of their hard work out into the gravel? Hell no. I decided that for their sake, someone had to drink it, and drink it before it went bad.
They gave me the bottle of champagne. So, La Marca, what do you think about that? Better than anything I'm likely to find on this side of Trinity Lake. So my fishing plans took a detour for a moment or two. I'd better do something about this champagne before it goes bad. This is my nylon tote bag and a bottle of apple juice, and this was a container full of ketchup. It's a honey bottle actually, but you can see where the raven came and just ripped it all to shreds. I guess that was a raven. I'm not sure what it was. Whatever it was, walked away with my glass bottle of cream too. So I'm back here at my campfire. It is the most wonderful, spectacular, beautiful day of the year. The fish are just biting like crazy. I should be out there fishing, but I ran into this film crew at the boat launch, and they gave me this bottle of champagne. So hell with fishing. Here is a toast to Chelsea, whatever it was, that TV show they were making. And toast to wild trout and wild salmon. Mmm. Not bad. Tastes so good. On a sunny October afternoon. Well, here's another first for the Bass Stravaganza. The very first ever bottle of Italian champagne ever to sit in the whatever you call it, Slurpee holder, coffee cup holder of the mighty bullship. I'm just coming up on Staghorn here. There was a bunch of action here, big swirls. Probably all glare right now. I'm gonna try, there's a swirl. There's fish there. Not even sure where I am yet. Wow, that only took 1 second. That lure didn't hit the water. Oh, I think there's a few fish here. Well, that didn't take long. I think there's a few fish here. Now he's coming right to the boat. Not for long though. Oh, he got off. Oh well, just as well. I was going to turn the boat because when you're pointing into the sun, you don't get a good shot. That was a big fish. That was more silver than some of the others. There's one right behind the boat there. That didn't take 1 second after that lure hit the water before that fish was on. Look at them all. Thick with them in here. Oh, my lure was all tangled in weeds. That's why I was wondering why they wouldn't bite. I'm going to try to get up out of the... Boy, they're in shallow. It's only like 2 feet deep here. 3 feet deep. Holy smokes, it's just boiling with them in here. Look at, they're everywhere. Just everywhere in here. Oh, God, I was trying to hit it and he couldn't. What's the matter with them? So that homemade lure of mine was biodegrading. Wasn't working right. It was wearing out. So I'm switching to a store-bought Meps. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, you're still on. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, he got off. Or did he? No, he's still on. Coming this way. Oh, that's a good one. Shoot. Yeah. Come over by the camera, big boy. Wow. Check this out. Kennedy Lake or what? Come on, get on the camera. He dived under that log. Get off that log. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, he got off. Look at him down there. And that was a big one. Wow, it won't bite anymore. Seems like when one of those big fish tears the place up, the rest of them lose interest in biting. Funny thing is, I've never caught fish out there before. I've always caught them up in here before. I was expecting to find cutthroat. That. Wasn't expecting that. Oh. You can see here, you can see I'm just surrounded by active cohos. This is only 3 or 4 feet deep of water. They've calmed down a little bit now, but all of these ripples that you see all around, these are all cohos and maybe a few cutthroat mixed in with them. I haven't seen any cutties. Usually this spot is notorious for cutthroats here. You can just see these fish moving around here. They come and swim right under the boat. I got so excited fishing there that I forgot about my bottle of Italian champagne. I'm going to shut the camera off and attend to the... Just caught a beauty. A 2-pound, I don't know if they're a jack or what do you call them? Small coho. Nice scrap. I thought it was on film and I guess I didn't have the camera on. Try again. I'm only fishing here in 3 to 4 feet of water. Switch to a homemade lure. Oh, little guy. Might have been the first fish ever on that lure. So shallow, I'm going to get spooked so easily. Huh, must have hit a log or something. There's one. Finally. First fish ever on this lure, I think. Nearly broke my rock tip right off there. You want to go that way, huh? This one isn't that big. But I can see this is going to take a while. So I'm going to have a sip of Italian champagne. Whoa! Ah, that felt good. This one's not as big as those other ones. Still nice. Look how silver it is. Wow. Have a toast to Cromer cohos. Stuck the hook right into me. Look at that. Beauty, huh? We're going back to the big red maps. Oh, there's a seal. Well, maybe not. Maybe that was just a big salmon. Yeah, they're rolling their backs out of the water here now. Chasing after it, but they won't bite. I've never seen this many cohos in one spot in this lake ever before in my life. Went out the door and came back innuendo. Whoa! Wow! Oh, he's still going. Oh, slow down. Oh, man. Come on. Jeez. Oh, no. Now he's out there. Where the heck is he? Way, way out there. Camera's gonna die. My battery will die before I can reel him in. He's coming this way now. What a run. Coming right this way. He's gonna change his mind here pretty quick. He just changed his mind. Okay. Now we're back in business. That's the longest run I've ever had from any fish in my life. Oh, he's not done yet. I hope that camera battery, I hope that camera is still running. Last time I tried to shoot, it didn't turn on. Okay, still running. That's a nice coho right there. How's that? That's a nice one. Whew. Wish I had some more champagne. That's a nice one.
The spot where this episode ends, spot D, was the location of an Aboriginal weir that once spanned the outlet of Kennedy Lake. It was the focal point of the entire human culture in the region, even more important than Costco is nowadays. The following summer, I returned to this area and located the remains of that old weir and filmed it underwater. And later recorded the narration for an episode of the Bass Extravaganza in which I was going to announce that I was getting out of the business of making fishing videos. In the future, I was hoping to concentrate on making videos about watersheds and watershed restoration and Aboriginal fisheries management. But then I changed my mind and decided to have a stroke instead. My intent in shooting this kind of recreational video was to provide a testament to a world that is rapidly disappearing. When I shot this video, I was just trying to learn how to run a GoPro camera and edit video into something that another person might watch. And I was trying to prove a point that there still are some fish in this watershed worth paying attention to and worth saving and maybe even enhancing. This was intended to be a prelude to future episodes I had in mind, documenting the Aboriginal history of these ecosystems and the tragic devastation that has occurred over the past century, and maybe even a few suggestions about what we could do as a community to protect and promote them. But now this movie is like the first chapter in a book that I will never write. But I want to publish it anyway. Maybe it will inspire someone else to write that book. And one more thing. Don't go out boating when you're drunk. By the end of this episode, my blood alcohol count was probably the highest it has ever been in my life. I don't want kids watching it. I did it once and I got away with it. When I used to do my annual steelhead toast, I would have one bottle of Czech beer, never more. Don't go out boating when you're drunk. And one last thing. The boat you see behind me, the mighty Bullship, which was my co-star in so many episodes of the Bass Extravaganza, has basically been mothballed since my stroke 3 years ago. But it's tuned up again and ready to get back on the water. If you feel it trembling, faint kind of shaking, that's not an earthquake. That's millions of bass quivering in terror at the thought of this boat getting back on the waters of British Columbia.
Wish I had some more champagne.